Jin Su walked through the crowded streets of New Seoul with her head down. Rain fell from the gray sky as people rushed past her. Unlike everyone else, Jin did not have an umbrella. She did not have fancy clothes. She did not have the shiny metal chip in her neck that most people had. "Hey, Jin Su," called a voice. Jin looked up to see her classmate Hana waving at her from under a clear umbrella. Jin smiled and walked over. "Did you finish the engineering project?" Hana asked. "Yes," Jin said. "I stayed up all night." "I bet you got it perfect, like always," Hana said with a laugh. Jin just smiled. She did not like to brag. They walked together to the university. Big screens on the buildings showed the news. Space stations above Earth were under attack. Strange ships had appeared 3 days ago. They belonged to aliens called the Mech. Jin stopped walking and stared at the screens. The news showed the alien ships moving in patterns. Most people saw only chaos. Jin saw something different. "They attack in groups of 3, she whispered. "What?" Hana asked. Jin pointed at the screen. "Look, they always attack in groups of 3. And they always turn left after firing weapons." Hana squinted at the screen. "I don't see it." Jin watched a few more seconds. "They will attack the north side of Station 7 next, in about 4 minutes. Hana laughed. "How could you know that?" Jin shrugged. She did not know how she knew. She just saw patterns that others missed. 4 minutes later, the news showed the mech ships attacking the north side of Station 7. Hana's mouth fell open. "That was just lucky," Hana said, pulling Jin away from the screen. At the university, Professor Kim was talking about the attacks instead of teaching engineering. "The mech are more advanced than us," he said. "Their ships are faster, their weapons are stronger, and they all have brain enhancements far better than our neural chips." Jin listened carefully. Her parents had never let her get a neural chip. They were scientists who escaped from the Galactic Alliance. They did not trust the government putting technology in people's brains. "Being natural is better," her mother always said. "Your brain can do amazing things without help." Jin had always felt different, slower, but she also saw things others did not. After class, a loud alarm rang through the city. Everyone looked at their phones. "The mech have landed," someone shouted. "They're attacking New Seoul." Panic spread through the building. Teachers tried to keep everyone calm. "This university is now an emergency shelter," the principal announced. "Please stay inside." Hours passed. Jin sat in a corner, watching news on her small tablet. She watched how the mech soldiers moved. Again, she saw patterns. Suddenly, the building shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. People screamed. The doors burst open. Soldiers in Earth defense uniforms rushed in. A tall man with a serious face led them. "I am Officer Han Ta," he announced. "We need engineers to help repair our defense systems." Several students, including Hana, stepped forward. Jin stayed in her corner, still watching her tablet. The building shook again, harder this time. A soldier ran to Officer Han. "Sir, the mech found us. They're attacking from the east side." Han gave quick orders. Soldiers ran to defend the building. Jin looked up from her tablet. She knew something was wrong. "They won't come from the east," she said quietly. Then louder, "They won't come from the east." No one heard her. Jin stood up and ran to Officer Han. "Sir, the mech attack in patterns. They're not coming from the east." Han glanced at her with annoyed eyes. "They will come from the north and west at the same time," Jin said. "In 3 separate groups. They always attack in 3s. Han started to turn away. "Please." Jin grabbed his arm. "You're sending your soldiers to the wrong place." Something in her eyes made Han pause. He spoke into his radio. "Team 2, check the north and west sides. Report immediately." Seconds later, the radio crackled. "Sir, mech soldiers approaching from north and west. 3 groups on each side." Han's eyes widened. He stared at Jin. How did you know that? He asked. Jin Su looked back at him. I just see the patterns, she said simply. For the first time in her life, Jin felt that being different might not be so bad after all. Officer Hanta stared at Jin Su with new eyes. This small girl with no neural chip had just saved many lives. Who are you? He asked. Jin Su, engineering student, she answered simply. Han's radio buzzed with reports of the battle. His soldiers had surprised the mech thanks to Jin's warning. Many students and soldiers were safe because of her. Sir, we need to move now, said a soldier next to Han. Han nodded, but kept looking at Jin. How did you know about the attack? Jin pointed to her tablet. The mech follow patterns. Their movements are not random. They think in threes, not twos like humans. A loud explosion shook the building. Windows broke, and people screamed. We need to get these people out now, Han ordered. The university is no longer safe. As soldiers led people to waiting trucks, Han grabbed Jin's arm. You're coming with me, he said. Jin did not argue. She followed Han to a special truck with computers and maps inside. This is our mobile command center, Han explained. The truck sped through the broken streets of New Seoul. Jin looked out the window at burning buildings and crashed cars. Mech soldiers with metal armor walked through the city. They were tall with 3 arms and smooth gray skin. Tell me more about these patterns, Han said. Jin pointed to a map on a screen. The mech always attack in groups of 3. They prefer to turn left after attacking. They never attack the same place twice in one day. Han frowned. Our best military minds haven't seen these patterns. They're looking for human patterns, Jin said. The mech are not human. The truck stopped at a large underground bunker. Soldiers guided Jin and Han inside. The bunker was full of military officers, computers, and weapons. A stern woman with gray hair approached them. Officer Han, who is this civilian? She asked. General Park, this is Jin Su, Han said. She predicted the mech attack pattern at the university. She saved many lives. General Park looked at Jin with doubt. How? Before Jin could answer, a tall man with angry eyes stepped forward. We don't have time for children's games, he said. The mech have taken the north sector. We need to plan our defense. Captain Da, Han said firmly. Jin predicted the exact formation of the mech attack. She says they follow patterns. Captain Da laughed. And you believe her? She's not even enhanced. Jin stayed quiet. She was used to people not believing in her. General Park raised her hand for silence. We need all the help we can get. If she saw something useful, I want to hear it. Jin was led to a large screen showing the city map. Red dots showed where mech soldiers were fighting. What do you see? General Park asked. Jin studied the map. Her eyes moved quickly, seeing connections others missed. They're forming a triangle, she said. 3 main attack groups with 3 smaller groups in each. They will meet here. She pointed to the center of the city. That's our main power station, Han said with alarm. They will attack in 47 minutes, Jin continued. They always wait 160 minutes between major attacks. Captain Dae rolled his eyes. This is ridiculous. General Park looked at the clock. We'll see. Han, take a team to the power station. If nothing happens, no harm done. If she's right. Han nodded and quickly gathered soldiers. I want to go too, Jin said. Absolutely not, Captain Dai snapped. She's a civilian. She might see something we miss, Han argued. General Park thought for a moment. She goes, but keep her safe, Han. That's an order. As they left the bunker, Captain Dai watched with angry eyes. This is a mistake, he muttered. Jin followed Han to a military vehicle. She felt scared, but also excited. For the first time, someone was listening to her. If you're wrong, we'll look very foolish, Han said as they drove toward the power station. Jin looked at him calmly. I'm not wrong. Han almost smiled. We'll find out in 43 minutes. Han and his team reached the power station with 30 minutes to spare. Soldiers took positions around the building. Jin sat in the command vehicle watching the area. See anything yet? Han asked. Jin shook her head. They're not here yet, but they will come. Han checked his weapon and looked at the time. 25 minutes left. He was taking a big risk trusting this strange girl. Why don't you have neural enhancements? He asked. Everyone gets them at age 10. My parents didn't allow it, Jin said. They believed natural brains are better. They were scientists who studied how enhancements change thinking patterns. And where are they now? Jin looked down. Gone. The Galactic Alliance arrested them 3 years ago for speaking against mandatory enhancements. Han was silent. He had his enhancements since childhood. They helped him aim better, run faster, and process information quickly. But they never helped him see patterns like Jin did. A soldier ran to Han. Sir, no sign of mech activity in this sector. Keep watching, Han ordered. 15 minutes left. Han began to doubt. Maybe Captain Dai was right. Maybe this girl was just lucky before. Jin suddenly sat up straight. Look there, she pointed to the northwest. And there, she pointed southeast. And there, she pointed southwest. Han saw nothing at first. Then he noticed small movements in the distance. His enhanced vision zoomed in. Mech soldiers were approaching from 3 directions, just as Jin had predicted. All teams alert. Han shouted into his radio. Mech approaching in 3 groups, exactly as predicted. Jin watched the screens in the command vehicle. They will attack simultaneously in 8 minutes. The northwest group will hit hardest. Han quickly adjusted his defense plan. He sent more soldiers to the northwest side and prepared ambush positions. 7 minutes later, the mech attacked. Just as Jin had said, they came from 3 directions at once, with the northwest group being largest. But Han's team was ready. The battle was fierce, but short. For the first time since the invasion began, humans won a clear victory. How did you know? Han asked Jin as they drove back to the bunker. I watch. I see, Jin said simply. The mech think differently than humans. Their minds work in 3s, not 2s. Back at the bunker, everyone stared at Jin. News of the victory had reached them. General Park called an emergency meeting. All the top officers gathered around a large table. Jin sat quietly in a corner until Han brought her forward. Tell them what you told me, he said. Jin looked at the serious faces around her. Captain Dai glared at her with angry eyes. The mech follow mathematical patterns based on the number 3, she explained. Their biology has 3 of everything. 3 arms, 3 eyes, 3 brain sections. So they think in 3s. Their attack patterns follow this rule. That's why our computers couldn't predict them, a technology officer said. We program based on human binary thinking. General Park studied Jin. Can you predict their next attack? Jin nodded. I need to see all your battle footage. All of it. Captain Dai slammed his hand on the table. This is absurd. We can't trust our defense to an unenhanced child. This child just gave us our first victory, General Park said sharply. She turned to Jin. You'll have everything you need. Han was assigned to work with Jin. He took her to a small room filled with screens. All the battle footage from the past 3 days played in front of her. How long will this take? Han asked. All night, Jin answered, her eyes already fixed on the screens. I need to see everything. As Jin watched the footage, Han realized she was special in ways no enhancement could match. Her natural brain saw connections that artificial systems missed. Captain Dai watched from outside the room, his face dark with jealousy. An unenhanced girl was showing up the military's best minds. He would not forget this humiliation. Jin didn't notice him. She was already lost in the patterns, seeing what no one else could see. Morning came. Jin had not slept. Her eyes were red, but she smiled as Han entered the room. I found it, she said. Han brought her a cup of hot tea. Found what? The next attack. And the one after that. And the one after that. Han's eyes widened. You can predict that far ahead. Jin nodded and pointed to her notes. She had filled many pages with drawings, numbers, and strange symbols. The mech use a complex pattern based on the number 3. Their next major attack will be here, here, and here. She pointed to 3 spots on the city map. Han studied the locations. These are all communication centers. Yes, they will attack tomorrow at sunrise. They always attack important targets at sunrise. Han immediately took Jin to General Park. The command room was full of officers planning the day's defense. Captain Dai stood at the main table, giving orders. We believe the mech will attack the western sector next, Captain Dai was saying. We should move our forces there. Jin shook her head but stayed quiet. Han spoke up. General, Jin has important information. General Park waved them forward. Captain Dai frowned as Jin approached the table. The mech will not attack the western sector, Jin said. They will attack these 3 communication centers tomorrow at sunrise. Captain Dai laughed. And you know this how? Magic? Jin placed her notes on the table. Mathematics. The mech follow a trinary pattern. I analyzed all their attacks. They form perfect mathematical sequences. General Park studied Jin's notes. Though she did not understand all the symbols, she could see the care Jin had taken. What do you suggest? The general asked. Set a trap, Jin said. The mech think we don't understand their patterns. We can surprise them. Captain Dai shook his head. This is foolish. We can't risk our limited forces based on a child's guesswork. General Park thought for a moment. We'll do both. Captain Dai, take half our forces to the western sector. Han, take the other half and follow Jin's plan. That day was busy with preparations. Jin worked closely with Han to set traps at the 3 communication centers. They placed hidden weapons and soldiers in unexpected positions. The mech always approach from the north side of buildings, Jin explained. They always check doorways before windows. They always shoot the tallest person first. Han was amazed at the detail of Jin's observations. How do you see all this? Jin shrugged. I just do. That night, no one slept. At the main communication center, Jin and Han waited with 20 soldiers. The other centers had similar teams waiting. Captain Dai and his larger force guarded the western sector. 1 hour until sunrise, Han said, checking his watch. Jin nodded. They will come soon. Remember, they will check the north entrance first. As the first light of dawn appeared, Han's radio buzzed with alerts. Mech ships had been spotted approaching the 3 communication centers. None were heading to the western sector. They're coming, just as you said, Han told Jin. Jin didn't smile. Get ready. They will land in exactly 3 minutes. The soldiers took positions. Jin stayed in the command room, watching through cameras. 3 minutes later, mech ships landed outside all 3 centers. North entrance first, Jin reminded Han through the radio. Sure enough, the mech soldiers approached the north doors. They were walking into a trap. The battle was quick and decisive. At all 3 locations, human soldiers surprised the mech. For the first time since the invasion, the humans captured mech weapons and ships. Back at the bunker, General Park was amazed by the reports. Total victory at all 3 sites. No human casualties. Captain Dai returned from the quiet western sector, his face dark with anger. This was luck, he insisted. Nothing more. General Park ignored him and turned to Jin. You've given us our first real victory. What's next? Jin looked at the map. The mech command will respond to this defeat. They will send their best warrior to find out how we predicted their attack. How do you know this? Han asked. Jin looked at him with tired eyes. Because that's what I would do. On the mech command ship, Commander Cruel was angry. 3 attacks had failed. His 3-fingered hand smashed a control panel. How did the humans know our plans? He demanded. His officers had no answer. The humans had always been easy to defeat before. Something has changed, Cruel said. Someone is helping them. He turned to a tall mech warrior standing in the shadows. This warrior wore special armor with many weapons. Drez, find out who is helping the humans. Destroy them. Drez bowed. Yes, Commander. Back at the human base, Jin was now an important person. General Park had given her a special room with many screens. Han and a small team worked with her. Everyone respected her except Captain Da. We captured 3 mech ships, Han told Jin. Our scientists are studying them now. Jin nodded. Good, I want to see everything they learn. Captain Da entered the room without knocking. General Park wants a report on the next mech attack. Jin looked tired. She had not slept much for 3 days. I need more time, she said. Time is something we don't have, Captain Da said coldly. After he left, Han frowned. He's just angry because you proved him wrong. Jin didn't care about Captain Da's feelings. She was busy studying the new information from the captured mech ships. Their technology is based on the number 32, she said. 3 power sources, 3 backup systems. That night, Captain Da sent a message. No one saw him do it, but he sent information about Jin to someone outside the base. He told them about the girl who could predict mech attacks. He told them her name and where she would be tomorrow. The next morning, General Park called a meeting. We need to move Jin to our main base in the mountains, she said. She'll be safer there and have better equipment. Han was chosen to take Jin to the mountain base. They would travel in a small truck with 3 soldiers for protection. We leave in 1 hour, Han told Jin. Pack only what you need. Jin didn't have much to pack, just her tablet and notes. As she got ready, Captain Da watched from the hallway with cold eyes. The truck left the base at noon. It moved quickly through the empty streets of New Seoul. Buildings were broken and burned all around them. Jin looked out the window with sad eyes. I grew up here, she said quietly. Han nodded. We'll take it back. Thanks to you, we have a chance now. Suddenly, the driver shouted. Something's blocking the road ahead. A large metal object lay across the street. The truck stopped. Stay here, Han told Jin. He and 2 soldiers got out to check. Jin looked at the metal object through the window. Something wasn't right. The shape was too perfect, too planned. Han, she shouted. It's a trap. Too late, a bright light flashed. Han and the soldiers fell to the ground, not moving. A tall figure in special armor appeared from behind a building. It was Drez, the mech's best warrior. The driver tried to turn the truck around, but a shot from Drez's weapon killed him instantly. Jin was alone in the truck with Drez approaching. She looked around for a weapon but found nothing. Drez reached the truck and ripped the door off with his 3 strong arms. He looked at Jin with his 3 eyes. You are the one helping the humans, Drez asked in a strange voice. You are small, weak, unenhanced. Jin stayed calm. She noticed things about Drez's armor. The way it moved, the lights on its surface, the slight delay when he turned his head. I don't fight with strength, Jin said. I fight with this. She tapped her head. Drez made a sound like laughing. Your mind cannot stop my weapons. He raised his arm to grab her. Jin saw her chance. She noticed a small gap in his armor near the 3rd arm joint, a weak point. She grabbed a pen from her pocket and jammed it into the gap with all her strength. Sparks flew from Drez's armor. His 3rd arm went limp. For the first time ever, a mech warrior looked surprised. Drez stared at his limp arm, then at Jin. No human had ever damaged his battle suit before. Jin jumped from the truck and ran. She was small and quick. She darted between broken buildings while Drez followed, slower in his heavy armor. Jin's mind worked fast. She needed to reach Han. He might still be alive. Drez fired his weapon. A wall next to Jin exploded. She fell but got up quickly. Dust covered her clothes. "You cannot escape," Dres called. Jin reached the spot where Han lay. She checked his pulse. He was alive but unconscious. The other soldiers were the same. Dres had used a stun weapon, not a killing one. He wanted prisoners. Dres was getting closer. Jin had to think. 3, she whispered to herself. Everything about the mech is based on 3. She looked at Dres's helmet. 3 glowing lights showed where his eyes were. Jin picked up a piece of broken glass from the ground. When Dres rounded the corner, Jin threw the glass. Sunlight reflected off it, hitting all 3 eye sensors at once. Dres roared in pain and stopped, his vision temporarily blinded. Jin used this moment to drag Han behind a fallen wall. She found his radio and called for help. "This is Jin Su. Officer Han is down. We're under attack by a mech elite warrior." General Park's voice answered. "Jin, where are you?" Jin described their location. "Send help fast. I can't hold him off much longer." Dres had recovered and was searching for her, smashing through debris with his 2 working arms. "Why do you help the humans?" Dres asked. "Join the mech. We respect intelligence. Your mind would be valuable to us." Jin stayed quiet. She was studying Dres's movements. His armor had a pattern. It made a specific sound every 3rd step. There was a rhythm to it. "I know you're listening." Dres continued. "You are different from other humans. You see patterns like we do." Jin suddenly understood something important. The mech weren't just attacking randomly. They had a bigger plan. "Why did you invade Earth?" she called out, quickly moving to a new hiding spot. Dres turned toward her voice. "Humans are dangerous. Your kind spreads across the galaxy like a disease. You change things. You are unpredictable. Only some of us," Jin said from her new position. "Those without enhancements." Dres stopped moving. "Yes. Enhanced humans follow patterns we understand. Natural humans are chaos." This confirmed what Jin had suspected. The mech feared natural human thinking because it didn't follow their mathematical patterns. She needed to keep Dres talking until help arrived. "Is that why you attacked?" "Fear. Not fear. Logic. Your natural minds are a threat to the order of the galaxy." Jin heard aircraft in the distance. Help was coming. But Dres heard it too. He moved faster, smashing through walls to find her. Jin had one more trick. She had noticed that Dres's helmet had 3 sound sensors, 1 on each side and 1 in front. "Dres," she called, throwing her voice to bounce off a metal sheet. The echo made her voice seem to come from 3 directions at once. Dres's helmet systems became confused. The 3 sound sensors received conflicting information. His suit froze for a moment as it tried to process this impossible sound pattern. That moment was enough. Human aircraft appeared overhead. Soldiers dropped from ropes, surrounding Dres. They fired special weapons that covered his armor in sticky foam that hardened quickly. Han was waking up as medics reached him. He saw Jin standing over a captured Dres. "How?" he asked weakly. Jin helped Han sit up. "I used his own patterns against him. The mech can't handle information that doesn't fit their rules." General Park arrived in another aircraft. She looked at the captured mech warrior with amazement. "No one has ever captured a mech elite before," she said. Jin looked at Dres with curious eyes. "I think I understand why they're attacking us now. And I know how we can stop them." Captain Dai watched from a distance, his plan to eliminate Jin having failed. His face showed fear now. If anyone discovered what he had done, he would be punished severely. Jin turned to General Park. "I have a plan, but it's dangerous. We need to attack the mech command ship." Everyone looked at her with shock. No one had ever suggested attacking the mech directly before. Back at the main base, General Park gathered the top officers to hear Jin's plan. Captain Dai stood in the back, looking nervous. "The mech command ship controls all their forces," Jin explained. "If we can get inside, We can stop the invasion. Impossible, an officer said. Their security is too strong. Jin shook her head. Not if we use their patterns against them. She had spent hours studying the captured mech warriors' armor and weapons. Now she understood their technology better. The mech see everything in threes, Jin said. Their sensors look for groups of 3 or more humans. 2 people can slip past unnoticed. Han, now recovered from the attack, stood beside Jin. Who would go on this mission? Me, Jin said. And you, if you're willing. Han nodded without hesitation. I'm in. General Park looked concerned. This is extremely dangerous. It's our only chance, Jin argued. The mech are bringing more ships every day. Soon, they'll be too strong to defeat. After much discussion, General Park approved the plan. A small team would create a distraction while Jin and Han infiltrated the command ship. Captain Dai suddenly spoke up. I should go instead of Officer Han. I have more combat experience. Everyone was surprised by his offer. Jin studied his face. She didn't trust him, but saying so would cause problems. We need you to lead the distraction team, Captain, General Park decided. Han will go with Jin. Over the next 2 days, Jin prepared for the mission. She created special devices to fool mech sensors. She studied maps of mech ships based on the ones they had captured. The command center will be in the middle of the ship, she told Han as they prepared. 3 levels up from the main hangar. Han checked his weapons. How will we get inside the ship? Jin showed him a small device she had built. This will make us invisible to mech sensors, but we must stay close together. Always 2, never 3. The night before the mission, Jin couldn't sleep. She sat in her room reviewing her notes. Someone knocked on her door. It was Han. Nervous? He asked. Jin nodded. Yes, but also excited. For the first time, I'm using my mind to really help people. Han sat beside her. Your parents would be proud. Jin smiled sadly. I hope so. Early the next morning, the mission began. 3 Earth ships attacked a mech outpost as a distraction. Captain Da led this attack, drawing mech forces away from their command ship. Jin and Han flew a small, fast ship toward the mech command ship. Jin's device worked perfectly. The mech sensors didn't detect them. Landing in 30 seconds, Han said. They touched down in a small maintenance bay. No alarm sounded. They were in. Jin led the way, holding her sensor device. They moved through dark corridors, hiding whenever mech soldiers passed by. How do you know which way to go? Han whispered. The ship follows the same pattern as everything the mech build, Jin explained. 3 main corridors, 3 levels, 3 security checkpoints. They reached the first checkpoint. 3 mech guards stood at a door. Jin pointed to a small vent above them. That leads around them, she whispered. They crawled through the tight space. Jin went first, moving silently. Han followed, careful not to make noise. The second checkpoint had no guards but a scanner that checked for life forms. Jin used her device to fool it. The door opened. 2 more levels, Jin said. As they climbed a maintenance ladder to the next level, an alarm suddenly blared. Red lights flashed all around them. They've detected us, Han said. Jin checked her device. No, it's something else. The distraction team must have done more damage than planned. They reached the 3rd level and found chaos. Mech soldiers ran in all directions, too busy to notice them. This is good, Jin said. The confusion will help us. They were almost to the command center when a door opened ahead of them. Captain Dai stepped out, surrounded by mech soldiers. He wasn't a prisoner. He was giving them orders. He's working with them, Jin gasped. Han pulled Jin into a side room before Dai could see them. He betrayed us, Han said angrily. He must have been helping them all along. Jin's mind raced. Their plan was in danger, but something else bothered her. Why would Captain Dai help the mech? Jin and Han watched from their hiding place as Captain Dai walked away with the mech soldiers. We need to follow him, Jin whispered. He might lead us to the command center. They moved carefully behind Captain Dai, staying just far enough back to avoid detection. Jin's device kept them hidden from the mech sensors, but it wouldn't work on human eyes. If Dai turned around, he would see them. The ship was huge. Corridors stretched in all directions, but Jin noticed they always came in groups of 3. Every junction had 3 paths. Every room had 3 doors. Captain Dai and his mech guards stopped at a large door. It opened, and they went inside. Jin and Han slipped in behind them, just before the door closed. They found themselves in the command center. Dozens of mech officers worked at control stations. In the center stood Commander Cruel, the leader of the invasion. Jin and Han hid behind some large equipment. They could see and hear everything. The humans are attacking our outpost as planned, Captain Dai told Commander Cruel. But I believe they're using it as a distraction. Krull's 3 eyes blinked. A distraction for what? They want to attack this ship, Dai said. The girl, Jin Su, has a plan. Jin's heart sank. Dai knew about their mission. He was warning the mech. We must find this girl, Cruel said. Her mind is dangerous to us. I captured one of her team members, Dai said. He signaled to the guards, who brought in a prisoner. It was Han. But Han was right next to Jin. She looked back and forth between the 2 Hans in confusion. The Han beside her whispered, "It's a trick. That's not me." Jin studied the captured Han carefully. His face was the same, but something was wrong. His movements were too stiff, too regular. Then she understood. "It's a robot," she whispered. "The mech made it to trick Da." The real Han looked at her in surprise. Why would they trick their own spy? Jin's mind raced. Because they don't trust him either. No one trusts a traitor. Commander Cruel turned to Da. "Where is the girl now?" "Still at the human base," Da said. "She's planning to." Suddenly, a side door opened. Drez walked in, his battle suit repaired. "The girl is here," Drez announced. "My sensors detected her device." Everyone turned toward Jin's hiding place. Their cover was blown. Han pulled out his weapon. "Run, Jin. I'll hold them off." But Jin didn't run. Instead, she stood up and walked toward Commander Cruel. Han stared at her in shock. "Yes, I'm here," Jin said calmly. "And I know why you're really afraid of humans like me." The room went silent. Even Commander Cruel seemed surprised by her boldness. "You fear us because we don't follow patterns," Jin continued. "Natural human minds are unpredictable. We see connections you miss." Drez moved to grab her, but Cruel raised a hand to stop him. "You are correct," Cruel said. "Your kind threatens the order we bring to the galaxy." Jin nodded. "That's why you made the enhancements. They weren't to help humans. They were to make us predictable, to make us think more like you." Captain Da looked confused. This wasn't what the mech had told him. "The Galactic Alliance is controlled by the mech," Jin said. "You've been changing humans for years, making them easier to control. But you couldn't change all of us." Jin turned to Captain Da. "They lied to you. They don't respect enhanced humans. They just find you easier to manipulate." Dai's face showed doubt for the first time. He looked at Commander Cruel. "Is this true?" Cruel ignored him. "You are clever, Jin Su. Join us. Your mind would be valuable." "Never," Jin said. She pressed a small button on her device. Suddenly, all the lights in the command center began to flash in an irregular pattern. The mech officers clutched their heads in pain. Their brains couldn't process the random sequence. In the confusion, Han rushed forward and grabbed Jin's arm. "Now we run." As they ran for the door, Jin looked back at Captain Da. His enhanced eyes were also struggling with the random lights. In that moment, He understood how the mech had been using him all along. Jin and Han ran through the corridors of the mech command ship. Alarms blared all around them. Red lights flashed on the walls. "We need to get to the main control room," Jin said between breaths. "Not the command center, the actual control room." Han looked confused. "Why? We should escape while we can." "Trust me," Jin said. "I have a plan." They turned a corner and faced 3 mech soldiers. Han raised his weapon, but Jin pulled him into a side passage. "Wait," she whispered. "Look at their pattern." The mech soldiers moved in a perfect triangle, each one 3 steps apart from the others. They checked rooms in a specific order. They always skipped the 4th room, Jin noticed. They can't count past 3 easily. They slipped past the soldiers by hiding in the 4th room in each hallway. Jin's understanding of mech thinking was saving them again. Finally, they reached a door marked with special symbols. "This is it," Jin said. "The control room." The door was locked. Han tried to force it open, but it wouldn't move. "Stand back," Jin said. She studied the lock. It had 3 buttons in a triangle shape. Most people would push them all at once, but Jin knew better. "The mech always do things in the same order," she said. "Left, right, top. Always." She pushed the buttons in that order. The door slid open. Inside, they found a large room filled with computers. No mech were present. The actual control systems needed no supervision because they followed perfect patterns. Jin went to the main computer. Strange symbols covered the screen. "Can you read that?" Han asked. "No," Jin admitted, "but I don't need to." She pulled out the small device she had used earlier. She connected it to the mech computer. "What are you doing?" Han asked, keeping watch at the door. "Introducing chaos," Jin said with a smile. Her device began sending random commands to the mech system. The computer tried to find patterns in the data, but couldn't. Warning lights began to flash. "The mech ships all connect to this main computer," Jin explained. "They can't function without clear patterns to follow. My device is sending random information." Suddenly, footsteps approached. Han raised his weapon. Captain Dai appeared in the doorway. Han almost fired, but Jin stopped him. "Wait," she said. She could see something different in Dai's eyes. "You were right," Dai said. "The mech have been using me. Using all enhanced humans." "Help us," Jin said. "It's not too late." Dai hesitated, then nodded. "What can I do?" "Guard the door," Han said. "Give us time." The ship suddenly shook violently. Jin's device was working. The random commands were confusing all mech systems. "We need to get to the escape pods," Jin said. "This ship will soon shut down completely." They ran through the corridors again, with Dad leading the way. The mech were in chaos. Some stood frozen, unable to process the random information flooding their systems. They reached the escape pods just as Commander Cruel and Drez appeared behind them. "You cannot defeat us," Cruel shouted. "Order will always overcome chaos." Day stepped forward. "Go," he told Jin and Han. "I'll hold them off." Jin shook her head. "Come with us." "I need to fix my mistake," Dai insisted. Han pulled Jin into an escape pod. The door closed just as Dai faced the mech leaders. The pod launched away from the ship. Through the window, they watched as the mech command ship's lights flickered and went dark. Without its guidance, all mech ships became confused and started to retreat. 3 days later, Jin stood before the Earth Defense Council. General Park was there, along with leaders from around the world. "The mech are gone for now," Jin told them. "But they'll be back unless we change." "Change how?" asked a council member. "We need both enhanced and natural humans," Jin explained. "The mech fear our unpredictability. That's humanity's edge, our diversity of thought." The council agreed. They made Jin the head of a new academy, where enhanced and natural humans would learn from each other. Han became her first instructor. Among their first students was a recovering Captain Dai, who had survived and escaped the mech ship. I thought enhancement made me special, Dad told Jin. Now I understand that being human is what makes us special. Jin smiled. Her parents had been right all along. The human mind, in all its wonderful chaos, was the most powerful weapon of all.